There we go. Welcome, everybody. This is the Young Family Taiji Section 3 class. And Section 3 is the longest section, but this class is going to be shorter than the second section class. And the reason is that there are a huge number of repetitions. And in fact, a large part of the third section is a repeat of the second section. So what we're going to concentrate on is the moves that are new to this section only. So what I'd like to do first as a little warm up is do Embrace Tiger, Return to Mountain, which is the same as in the second section. But instead of going into fist under elbow, we're going to do diagonal single whip. And diagonal single whip is just like single whip, except it's to the corner. And you would think, oh, it's just like that and it should be easy. Yes and no. What happens is when people do diagonal single whip, they very often don't have a wide enough stance. So instead of getting shoulder width, they end up being too narrow. So I want you to think about that as we do this. Okay, I'm going to go into cross hands and we're going to go through into diagonal single whip. So it begins just like fist under elbow, except you end up with a single whip. Okay, I'm going to turn around and I'm going to do it the same direction as you. So we're here at cross hands. And then embrace tiger, return to mountain. Shift all your weight to the right. Turn your left toe almost to straight. Shift your weight back, separate your hands, pull back your right foot, swing, step, brush, strike, roll back, circle, shift your weight back and turn to the side. Press, pull in the right, attach the left and press forward. Push. Flatten your hands, square up your shoulders, come back over a ball, hands in front of your chest, and push forward. Diagonal single whip. Flatten your hands as you shift your weight back. Turn and pull. The right foot goes to straight. Come around, push down, release the left foot. Make your hook hand, step out, and strike. So look at your footwork, okay? Is the right foot to the straight? And if you put your feet up, do you have shoulder width? So do a quick check to make sure that you have your shoulder width, okay? So the main move we're going to work on today is parting the wild horse's mane. And that goes from the diagonal single whip. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show it to you in the direction you would be doing it once. Then as I teach it to you, I'm going to do it more facing you so that you can get some sense of how the hands and feet look. And after we do that a few times, I'll go back to going the same direction as you would go. Okay, so if you were doing it, this is what the whole move looks like. Okay, so if you're at diagonal single whip, what happens is you shift your weight back and you turn. And you come back, pull in, step, So that's what the whole thing looks like. Okay. Now I'm going to, let's look at the footwork first. And I'm going to do it toward you. So if I were at single width, essentially, if I'm here, okay, I'm a bow stance to the corner. When I come around, I shift all my weight to the right so that I can turn my left. And I'm going to go past the corner, but not to straight. Then I'm going to pull in the right and then essentially make a bow stance. And what does this look like? It's just inside of the corner, but not quite straight. But if you looked at it, if you imagine that this was straight, this would be a standard bow stance. It's just that the direction is different. And the reason you have this is that when you have, like the bow stance you had for a left ward off or for single whip, you are going forward. So the front foot is forward. And that is your main energy direction. But what happens is that it doesn't give you as much versatility in the left and right dimension. You're really committed to forward. So with this, what we're doing is a so-called zigzag step. And what this does is you're here, you come in, and then you go out. And it's forward, but also sideways. So you have this forward and also sideways. And you'll see that much more in the weapons than you do in the hand form. But this is one of the places where you do have this so-called zigzag stepping. So the important thing for zigzag stepping, just as for the diagonal single whip, is that you must keep your shoulders width, okay? So when you're coming from your diagonal single whip and you turn this foot, you're going past the corner, not quite straight. And then when you come in, you step out, not quite to corner. And then you come back. In the old way they used to teach it is you're supposed to open your foot more. But now we teach it, just put it back where it was. And the reason is that when we did it the old way, people had a tendency to get too wide. And then what happens is you get to this, wider and wider and wider. So we would rather that you just put your foot back in the same spot. And that way you would maintain your orientation. Okay, so you come here, you pull in, you come out. And then you step here, you come in and out. Okay, so try that a few times. So if you are from, I'll do it the direction that you would be doing it normally. So you would be at single width to the corner. So the left foot would be 12 o'clock and this would be to the corner. And then when you turn with your weight to the right, you turn on your heel and you're past the corner, but not to straight. Then you come back and then in, out. Bend knee. Okay. Then you come back, step, come in, step, shift weight, come back, step, in and out. Okay? Make sure that if you were to put your feet parallel, that you still have that shoulders width. Okay? Any questions?
When you are about to do the next zigzag step, it looks like you're going in and out. Are you moving your foot at all? Because you go.
So what happens is when I'm here and I'm moving here, I am pulling in my foot and then stepping out.
Right.
Okay. And then when I come back and then I come forward, in, out.
I guess that was the question. You go forward, then you go back, and then you go forward again. It's
Yes.
but
Yes. And traditionally you were stepping when you did that. So what happens is you step and then you step. Traditionally you would step a little wider, but don't do that. And then once you commit here, you pull in and then you step, flatten, heel ball toe. When we have the hands, you'll see better why we do it this way. Okay.
Maybe that's why it seemed a little funny. Forward.
It does seem funny. Okay, I'm going to show it to you facing you, and then I'm going to show you the whole thing first, and then we're going to do just the hands. Okay, so when you're at single width, you're going to come here, and then as you come back, you open, you come in, step and close. So with the hands, it should make more sense. So this is like diagonal flying, but it's smaller. And the reason it's smaller is when you did diagonal flying, you went, well, essentially you did this turn and you went here. And this looks really big. And the reason is you're going to the corner. Because you do not go to the corner, this will look smaller. In both cases, the hand that comes out lines up with your foot. So because your foot is not going as far out, your hand does not go as far out either. Okay? So the way the hands work here is when you were at single width, what happens for the first one is you release your hook hand and you come down, you close, and then you open. So the first one is you had a hook hand and you release that hook hand and you come down, close, and open. So when you're looking just at the hook hand one, what I want you to think of is you released it and you're making a circle that is coming in toward yourself and then out again. So you're making this kind of teardrop shape. Okay, it's not just a back and forth. Okay, there's a teardrop You have this hook, release, come in toward your body and out again. Okay. The left hand has less to do, okay, because it was here. And all it does is it comes in to close, and then it just drops down. And this shape is just like all your other, like brush knee, whatever. When you're at the side, can you see this is just a little bit in front of your hip? So it's just like if you dropped your hand and then made your hand kind of parallel to the floor, a little ahead of your thigh. That's the shape you want. So this is a combination of a lot of things you already know. Okay, so when you were here, you have often released the hook hand, right? You've come in and done this close before, where the bottom hand is opposite the upper elbow. And then when you open, the top hand passes over the middle of the right forearm. You see that? So let's try that again. You're at your single whip. You release your hook. You come down, and then you close, and then you come out again. And the height of the right hand is like head height, okay? So at the end, you're looking past the tips of your fingers, out past that way. So in terms of the gaze, what happens is you open. When you come in, you will look past your elbow. And then you're going to follow that right hand and look past your hand when you come out. Okay? So you're here, release, come in and out. It's really hard to do without moving your body, actually. So when you do it with the feet, you will see that you're going to do it with your body moving. Okay, so if I were to do it going toward you, it would look like this. I'm coming in this way, I'm turning. Then as I move my weight back, I release my hand and I start coming in and then step and close. Then as I flatten my foot and shift weight, I'm moving out. So let's try that again. So from single whip, you shift weight to the right, you turn, then you shift weight back, release the right, come in, pull in the right foot, step and close, and then open. I'm going to do it the same direction as you. Okay, so you're going to be at diagonal single whip. Then we're going to shift all the way to the right. Turn on your heel. Hands don't move. Shift weight back. Release the right. Everything moves back. You're pulling in the right foot at the same time. Look back. Step. So everything is coming back and you step and close. Then shift weight and open. So let's try that again. Okay, you're a diagonal single whip, shift all the way to the right, pivot on the left heel. Then shift the weight to the back, pull in the right. As you move your hands together, step and close. Shift weight open. So there are 3 of these. And once you know the first one, it's much easier to do the second and the third. So if I'm doing it toward you, I'm at single whip, I'm turning around, I'm shifting my weight back, step and close, shift weight open. Now the way the second one works is you shift your weight back, and then as you shift your weight forward, your hands take this shape. Now what is this shape? This is the same shape you had when you did opening and you went to your first left ward off, or when you did cloud hands. Remember when you did cloud hands, when you're pulling and ward off, it's that shape. So I want you to think of it in terms of something you already know. And the reason I want you to have that pulling feeling on the top one is that when you have that pulling feeling, you have already basically gotten your hand in the right shape to do the close. Okay, you're already standing your wrist if you have that pulling shape. So if you think of it that way, it'll make it easier. Okay, so if you were here, then what happens is you come back, and then as you come forward, you assume this cloud hands or whatever type shape. Then as you shift your weight forward, you're pulling in close and step at the same time. And you're looking back past your elbow. Then as you shift weight, you look past your fingertips. Okay? And then the third one is like a cross between the first and the second because the transition's the same. You come back, you put your hands in that cloud hands type position, you come forward, and as you close, you step. And you come forward. Are there any questions? Would you prefer that?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm wondering about the hand, the difference in the hand movement between this hand movement, ward off and roll back. How do they differ?
What this pardon the horse, wild horse's mane is a big ward off.
Okay.
That's how it's different from diagonal flying. Diagonal flying is a strike.
Okay.
Parting the wild horse's mane is a big ward off. The reason you pull in your foot, so when you come in here, you notice that every time you pull in your foot before you step out, and the reason is when you have an opponent you're pulling your foot in to step around them, so that when you do your ward off, you're essentially putting them over your knee.
Okay.
So it's not that you're striking them, it's that you're warding them off over your knee. So even though it looks very similar, the energy is different.
Okay. Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
sure. Any other questions? Karen, you had a question? Yes?
I just need to have you do it a few more times. That's all.
Which direction do you prefer?
I don't know. I'm kind of confused on even what directions we're at now. Probably at least the next one to be at the direction that we would be in. So at least I can orient myself.
Okay, what I'm going to do is I'll do it the direction that you would be doing it. Okay, so at the end of diagonal flying, I mean at diagonal single whip, you're going to be here. Okay, then you're going to shift your weight to the right so that you can pivot the left. Your hands don't move yet. As you shift your weight back, your hands start moving. Then when your hands end, you step. Then shift weight as you turn your body and look past your hand. So this is actually a very nice move because it's a whole body type thing and everything is coordinated. It's a great move. So what I'll do, well, let's do all three just so you can get the transitions in, okay? So if you're at diagonal single whip, then shift right, turn on the left heel, then shift your weight back as you move your hands, pull in the right foot, step and close, you're looking back, shift, turn, and open. Number two, shift weight back, shift weight forward. As you shift weight forward, you turn your hands. Then as you move your weight to the right, you pull in the right, you pull in the left foot, and you look back as you step. Open and shift weight. Number three, shift back. As you shift forward, you turn your hands, shift your weight to the left, pull in the right, look back and step, turn and open. So it's really a matter of getting upper and lower body together.
Can I see how much I did when I first was doing it? I wasn't getting my body turning when I did that. So you're facing this way and then you're turning. Where's your torso when you end then? So it looks
When
like
you-
the whole body is turning.
So what happens is your torso is to the side. Well, it's hard to say. Let's say if you were starting here, okay, what happens is when you're here, your torso is to the corner, okay? But by the time you come here, your torso is that way.
Okay. Now is your your torso moves and your hips move at the same way, or is your hips stationary and it's just your torso moving? Are you just swiveling?
Your
or your whole
your hips are toward the side is what I meant. Your upper body actually moves toward the corner.
Okay, so your upper body is the one thing that's moving the most.
So what happens is that when you're here, it's really a huge move for your upper body, because your upper body is actually, when you're here, okay, your upper body is this way. By the time you move here, your upper body is that way.
Is that similar to diagonal flying?
It is similar to diagonal flying, but not quite as big.
Okay, but it's the same type of movement.
It's exactly the same type of movement. It's the same kind of movement. It's just that you don't go all the way to the corner. Diagonal flying, you go all the way to the corner. And that's why it seems bigger. Because you're inside of corner on this one. So if you're at diagonal single whip, you shift weight to the right, you turn. Then as you shift weight back, you come in, step and close, and then come back out again. Then on 2, you shift weight back. As you shift weight forward, your hands turn. As you shift all the way to the right, step and close, open. Shift back, shift forward, turn your hands, shift your weight to the left, close and step. Turn and open. Does that feel any better? I could do it, how about I do it this way out of curiosity, see if this helps any. If I do it this way, then my back is going to be toward you. But you might be able to see the coordination a little bit better. So if I'm coming back here, I turn. Come in, step and close. Open. Come back. Forward. Come in, step and close. Open. Back. Turn. Come in, step and close. Open. Does that help at all? Sometimes a different angle helps. Okay. So let's do it a few more times in the direction you would be doing it if you were starting at 12 o'clock that way. Okay. So if you were starting 12 o'clock that way, you would be at diagonal single whip here. You would shift to the right, pivot on the left, almost past the corner, but not to straight. Then as you shift weight back, your hands move, close and step, turn and open. Shift back, shift forward and turn your hands. Shift your weight to the right, pull in the left, step and close, turn and open. Shift back, shift forward, turn your hands, pull in, close and step, turn and open.
I had a quick question just to make sure I'm getting the zigzag right. When you end on the last right, when you do the last one, which is the right, you're in a different place on the floor, but is your feet in the same direction of when you ended the first right?
Yes,
I mean, you're over a little bit more, but you should exactly be the same.
yes. Your feet are in the same relative position, even though they're in a different position on the floor. They're
Okay.
the same relative to each other. Let's put
Right.
it that way.
It's just like you got picked up and then moved over and you're.
Yes.
Okay. I just want to make sure. So sometimes I get
So-
off as I'm doing those, but okay.
So let's do this a couple of times, and then we'll do the transition into Grasp-a-Sparrow's tail. Okay. And that way, you'll be in the position for the next class to also be at single width, except this time you won't be at a diagonal single width. Okay. So let's start again at diagonal single width. Then we're going to shift back, turn, shift back, move your hands together, close and step. You're looking toward the back, past your elbow. Turn and open. Number 2, shift back, shift forward and turn your hands. Come together, step and close, turn and open. Number 3, shift back, shift forward, turn your hands, come together, step and close, turn and open. Now after this, you're going to be going into Grasp-a-Sparrow's tail. So I want to do this a couple more times, and then we're going to go into the transition into Grasp-a-Sparrow's tail. Okay, so back to diagonal single width, shift to the right, turn, shift to the left, everything's coming together, step and close, turn and open, shift back, come forward and turn your hands, come together, step and close, you're looking back, turn and open, shift back, shift forward and turn your hands, come to the left, everything comes together, step and close, turn and open. So your right hand is relatively high when you're doing this relatively high ward off here. Okay, so make sure that things line up. So let's talk about lining up. Okay, so here, when you're at single width, you're going toward the corner. When you're here, after you turn, your left foot is between the corner and straight. When you come back, you're pulling in your right foot. And as you close and step, your right hand is under your left elbow. As you come forward, your left hand passes over the center of your right forearm as it goes. Then, after it passes, this hand comes down to the front of your thigh. Then as you shift your weight back, hands don't move yet, but as you shift your weight forward, your hands turn. You have the pulling position here, ward off down on the left. Then as you shift your weight to the right, you're pulling in the left and step and close. You're looking back past your elbow. Then the same thing here. As you turn, right hand passes over the center of your left forearm, and you look past your hand. 3, shift back, shift forward and turn your hands. Then as you come together, step and close, looking back. Follow the right hand as you turn and separate. Okay? So now, your next move is going to be grasp the sparrow's tail. And the transition to that, let me move a little forward, maybe you could see a little better. The transition to that is you're going to move this foot to that corner. Hands don't change. Then you're going to move here, just like in the very beginning when you had your left ward off. Except your hands are going to be the same, except you pull in and then step out, step and close. And then you're going to have your left ward off. So the main difference is the left foot comes in before you step out. And the reason is this: when you're here and you turn, your foot is pretty far out. So it's easier for you to pull in before you go out. After the next series of moves, Fair Lady, you do not pull in. But this one you do pull in because your feet are further apart. It has to do with where you're coming from. So you're here, you turn, this goes to the corner. Then as you shift all your weight to the right, you pull in, close and step, left ward off. Okay, so let's do it from cross hands. We'll do.
Can I ask a quick question before we
Yes.
do it all over? And I was noticing when you were doing the parting horse zigzags, when you went back, you lifted your toe. Is that you're supposed to be lifting your toe? You know, you go back and then forward again. I would just noticed your toe. I just didn't know. I want to make sure.
So here, actually,
yeah, you lift.
I lift my toe, but that's what they tell you to do nowadays. It used to be you should lift your foot and put it down again.
Okay.
I just lift my toe because I'm putting it back in the same spot.
Okay.
But in the traditional way, you would lift and step a little bit wider. But here, because we're in the same spot, I just lift my toe and put it back down again.
Okay. I just want to make sure. I was leaving it flat and going forward, backwards, but I'll lift it up.
Yeah, you should be lifting it up because you're kind of showing the stepping again. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay.
Question,
Yes.
on bird's tail, when you're coming back, you're grasping and you're turning your right foot toward the corner. Do you bring your body back so your weight is more on your left, or do you keep it on just the heel as you're making that turn?
So when you're here,
Yes.
moving back, okay, you're here, okay. When you're here, your hands don't move. And as you're turning, your weight is actually more in the back because you cannot turn if your weight is all in the front, right? So your weight is in the back as you turn. Then, as your hands turn, all your weight goes to the right. Pull in, step and close, left ward off.
Thank you.
Okay?
Yes.
So that's one of those separate, empty, and full things, right? Whenever you're pivoting one foot, the weight's got to be on the other foot. Otherwise, you are going to either wrench your ankle or wrench your knee, neither of which is particularly good. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to go from cross hands to single whip. Okay? Since you already know grasp the sparrow's tail, we're going to go from cross hands through parting the wild horse's mane to grasp the sparrow's tail and ending with single whip. Okay? So we're going to be here at cross hands. Okay? Embrace tiger, return to mountain. Shift right. Turn the left foot almost to straight. Shift weight back, separate hands, pull in the right foot. Swing step. Brush. Strike. Roll back. Circle your arms, shift your weight back, turn to the side. Press, pull in the right, attach the left, expand forward. Push, square up your shoulders, flatten your hands. Come back over a ball, hands in front of your chest, and push. Diagonal single whip. Shift your weight back and flatten your hands. Turn and pull. Right foot goes to straight. Press down, release the left foot. Make your hook. Diagonal single whip. Wild horse parts its mane. Shift right. Turn the left foot. Pass the corner. Come back. Pull in the right. Step and close. Turn and open. 2. Shift back. Turn your hands as you shift forward. Everything comes together. Turn, step and close. Turn and open. 3. Shift back. Shift forward. Turn your hands. Come together. Look back. Step and close. Turn and open. Transition to grasp the sparrow's tail. Turn. Right foot to the corner. Shift all the way to the right. Pull in the left. Step and close. Left ward off. Right ward off. Shift right. Turn your foot. Pull left ward off right. step and close, right ward off, roll back, turn to the corner, shift weight back, turn to the other corner, press, pull in the right, detach the left, expand forward, push, square up your shoulders, flatten your hands, pull back over a ball, hands in front of your chest, push, single width, shift weight back and flatten your hands, pull and turn all the way around, push down, release the left foot, make your hook hand, standing ward off, step, deflect, and strike. How did that feel? Okay. So next time, we're going to go from where we left off to the first of the fair ladies. Okay. Since most of you have done this before, it's a review for you, but it's got a lot to it, actually, the first fair lady.
I'm trying to get the sequence. I'm trying to memorize the sequence for 3 because it's so long.
Yes, yes. So a lot of people think of it in terms of the diversions being at cloud hands, because you think of the cloud hands as the dividers, you know, and so the very first cloud hands you ever did was in the second section, and it was just before high pad on horse. The second cloud hands, there are only 3 in the whole form, is before snake creeps down. And the third one is another high pad on horse.
Okay.
So sometimes it's easier to think of things in terms of little chunks.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So are there any questions?
I had a question on, it's all very fresh, so I got it, but I think tomorrow, if I want to try it, I would forget some things because it's also new. When do you think the video would be posted so I could just like give a quick review, like that very end that you did it? It's like I could follow that sequence through to single whip. Do you know when it will get posted?
I don't know, but I'll ask Mike to post it. So he's the guy who I don't know how to post. So,
Okay.
so I'll send him an email and ask him to post. How about that? Especially since
Thank
we
you.
don't have practices anymore.
I know.
So I'm
Yeah.
going to ask him to post a little earlier because he used to post on Sundays. So I'll ask him to post at the end of this class. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for coming to class. And hopefully things will be posted and you can practice. Then I'll
Yay.
see you next week.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rita.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.